Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome. Today is June 24th, 2019.
Zurich. Here. Basil.
Here.
Here. Wheeling. Caperos.
Here.
Meyer. Here. Kraus.
Here. We had the June 10th minutes in our packet. Any changes? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. Any questions? Roll call.
Zurich. Yes. Basil.
Yes.
Wheeling.
Yes.
Caperos.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Kraus.
Abstain.
And we have the clerk's report.
Total tax income received since May 13th, so there's an extra week or so in there, is $694,756.65. The bulk of that is real estate taxes for that first installment that has come in. Also let Greg or I know if you're planning on riding in the parade so that we make sure we have enough vehicles.
We're gonna ride or walk or
Surprise.
surprise?
I will be there. I will ride in the parade.
You can do either one. How's that? So it'll be something for you to ride.
I have to ride
Uh-oh.
this year, just saying.
I will tell you what you almost
I
had.
won't make the
You
walk.
almost had a horse-drawn carriage.
Oh, that would be awesome.
But anyways, you almost had one.
Almost.
So let us know. Finance and Administration Committee, Trustee Beecher.
All right, audit update. The preliminary field work is complete and more field work is scheduled for July.
Do you want to bring up that letter, as long as you're on that one?
Yeah, SICKET sent out a letter with a questionnaire to all the trustees. And the questionnaire is the wrong one they put in the packet, from Bolingbrook Park District. So we're gonna get in contact with them and resend out the questionnaire. Okay. Village investment update. There is an investment policy resolution on file which is required by law. That resolution states that the village funds are to be kept at the financial institutions having a physical presence in the village limits. We have to adopt a new resolution if we choose to move some of the funds elsewhere. This is not a big deal. The Finance Committee is conducting a full review of the services and investments that local banks offer and will provide an update once this review is completed. So if we choose to, we have to just do another resolution to go out of town with the funds.
So what do we need to do? Well, right now, the current resolution says you can only have your money in a bank that has a presence in town, which is Middle Reference Community. If we decide to move it out of town, we can change the resolution. It's that simple. One vote down.
And you guys are looking into other banks in other communities then?
Yeah, Donna has looked at other banks. So far, the local banks are doing really well for us. So if that changes, then of course we would have to do a resolution to go out of town with the funds, which is not a big deal. We can always,
Why don't we just do it and change it?
we could change the resolution and then, yeah.
I don't think that resolution's changed in 15 years, to be honest with you.
Are you guys looking at two? I mean, I guess I just don't understand. In May, the treasurer said we made more in 4 months than the prior 12. Is there nothing in place to check that every so often, or
Well,
look at
she
that?
monitors that every month, what our,
No, I mean, like, check the rates. I mean, how long should we have, I mean, let's be honest, the trustee made a comment, I don't think in a public meeting, I couldn't find it when I looked, about the rates, and all of a sudden, our rates go up. Should we, or could we get something in place to maybe check that every so often, every year, 2 years?
Actually, we're checking them every month.
yeah, that's what, Donna checks it every month, so.
And we have shot before at the treasurer's suggestion, so so they're shopping again. Check the rates, but they look at the rates all the time.
And we're
They
asking
were
for a
following
benchmark.
the current investment policy that says keep the money in town. So now if whatever the finance committee comes up with, and the change would have to be made, it could be made at that time. Whatever, whatever they recommend, I don't even know if they made it.
The interest rates have to have a benchmark. What are you basing your rates on? Is it a point under prime? It has to be in relation to prime. Once that's established, then you should know exactly what the rates are every month based on prime.
Well,
It's
it
kind of,
depends on what investment tools you're looking at.
Depends on how you invest.
I mean, yeah, you could get a flat rate, and it doesn't matter what the prime is.
So did we change something that made those go up?
No, they're claiming that the rates went up. That's what they claim.
Okay.
I have no proof one way or the other, but that's what the claim is.
Okay.
All right, consider an intergovernmental agreement for enrollment in the purchasing of a cooperative for a solar energy. This agreement is a working product of the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus and is a component of the greatest regional compact, which entered into several months ago. The purchase of solar credits does not affect any of our other type of co-op pricing we obtain through the NEMIC, but it is a reduction of 0.007 per kilowatts on all of our accounts. As we transition into, in theory, to 100% of energy being solar power. As a result of this agreement, the village will save anywhere from $1,862 to $5,585 per year on its own electricity account. There is a $500 subscription fee that has to be paid up from the Mayor's Caucus, but this program will be a large benefit in the long run. So $500 doesn't sound a lot if we could save up to $5,000 per year. Any questions or concerns on that?
Yearly or, is that yearly or?
This is per
monthly?
year,
Per year?
but they don't know exactly how much yet because they don't know how many of our accounts will qualify for the solar credit. They have a range.
But 1,800 is a low range?
But what you can say is that the village of Beecher, not the town, but the government, is 100% solar energy, because we're buying solar power on the market from these community farms that we've approved in the area eventually, when they get built. So the 1 megawatt facility is gonna supply us with our electric for this winter's grant. And this is all part of state legislation. This is the end result of the Electric Act of 4 years ago. We're finally getting to the point now where the solar's coming out.
All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, so just to be clear, are we gonna have a draft, resolution at the next meeting, striking, financial institution, physical presence within village limits?
Opera and town, right?
You
Yeah.
can,
Yeah, we can.
July 15th,
Is that what the board wants?
then you can put your money anywhere.
Yeah, then we can go anywhere we want. Why should we have our hands tied?
I agree, couldn't agree more.
All right. So, I'd like to make a motion considering an intergovernmental agreement for the enrollment in a purchasing in a cooperative for solar energy.
This motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
There is a second, any questions? Roll call.
Kraus,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Caprows.
Yes.
Whalen,
Yes.
Basil.
Yes,
Missouri.
Yes.
that ends my report.
Public Buildings and Properties, Parks and Recreation, trustee Lane.
Consider a motion authorizing payment to GTI in the amount of $9,500 for electrical work at 533 Reed. Since we do not meet until July
It's the
15th,
15th, not 17th,
and this bill was received the day after our last meeting, the superintendent would like to get it paid now. So I'd like to make a motion to pay GTI the amount of $9,500 for the electrical work at 533 Reed.
Motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
There is a second, any questions?
This is within the budget, correct, that we have? This is not extra?
Oh, correct, it's within,
Roll call.
Missouri?
Yes.
Basil?
Yes.
Whaling?
Yes.
Caprows?
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.
Kraus?
Yes.
That ends my report.
Planning, building, and zoning, trustee Missouri.
Okay, the comprehensive plan update, CMAP has made several recommended changes to the plan. It requires a rewrite of a lot of the text. As a result of that, PZC will not be meeting in June. We're gonna meet in July after that revision is made.
Hopefully we get the report, because the PZC wants it a week or two before the meeting,
So we can
so they can
review.
read it. I don't blame them, but we're at the mercy of CMAP again, and it's their grant, so here we sit.
That's all I have.
Public Safety Committee, trustee Kraus.
Thank you. Consider a motion authorizing the purchase of a new police squad 2019 Dodge Ram 1500 SSV pickup truck for an amount not to exceed $28,000. $30,000 was budgeted, but it's possible to equip an SUV for less than $43,000. Purchasing this will allow us to stay within the budget. Chief?
Yes, Ram has a police package for law enforcement. They're one of the last ones to have it. The base price is $23,600. The Ford Explorers were $36,000. They discontinued the Ford, the Tauruses, as well as the Chevy Impalas. That only leaves us with one car, is the Dodge Charger. We're trying to get away from those because we've had a lot of maintenance costs with the Dodges, especially the front ends. They're notorious. You know, the tie rods, the struts, all that stuff has to be replaced, you know, every, I don't know, 10,000 miles or so. So we're looking for something that's a little bit more rugged. I think that any truck will hold up better than a car. And eventually we'd like to get back to the Fords, because we do have some equipment that we can transfer over. So that's where we're at with that. And they also offer that for police, first responders. The same price goes for the individual as well. So it's a really good, promo for Dodge. It's actually Ram. I think Ram separated from Dodge. They're still kind of affiliated, but it's the Ram 1500 quad cab, 4x4, 5.7 liter. It's pretty much your basic truck. There's no frills. It's just your basic thing, but it's really a really good price.
So do you think, you said they separated, but do you think it's a problem with Dodge altogether as a brand, or have you heard any problems with the trucks?
We did
Like
some
cars.
research, so we still have it now. We demoed it for 2 weeks. I personally have owned 3 Dodge trucks, and I've never had any problem except for one. I had 2 Dodge Dakotas, 1 Durango. I had to replace the transmission in the Durango after 110,000. So that was the only thing I've ever had wrong with it. So we put our feelers out, the people that do have them. Cedar Point runs those, the same pickup trucks. Some of the people in town, and it seems like they're pretty happy with their Dodge trucks. Not so much the cars, but we did look into the trucks itself, and everybody was happy with their product.
Is it gonna have a cage in it?
No cage.
This one's replacing which car on the fleet?
We're probably gonna put it in for Rick to do the trucks with. He carries about between 200 and 300 pounds of scales, plus dummy scales. So when you measure a truck, you have to have 4 scales, plus you have to jack up the other tires with these wooden, what we call dummies. So we're gonna take his car and put that into the fleet, mark it and put it in the fleet.
So the Tahoe was for patrol.
For patrol, yeah.
How was the Tahoe?
Tahoe's in really good shape. It's low mileage. It's an excellent vehicle. It's got plenty of storage for the officers because they do carry a lot of cargo as well. I think we could get at least 3 more years out of that one.
Is the Tahoe caged?
It is not.
It will be?
It probably will be caged, yes. Yeah.
Is there enough money then to switch that one over and get this truck?
Yeah. Yeah, we should be all right.
Is this one gonna be lettered?
Lettered?
Straight.
The pickup?
Yeah.
No,
Why not?
because an officer takes that home. Lieutenant is going to probably take that home. Out of town.
I'll say this in the open, I don't think that's a reason not to stripe a vehicle, especially on days when there's, basically a lieutenant and sometimes the chief working, we have no cars in town that say Beecher Police on them.
What's the difference between that one and, what is it, the Suburban
that's striped and sits in someone's driveway that's a take-home?
It's not striped. He lives out of town.
I'm talking about Tajan horse.
Oh, Tajan horses?
What's the difference? You said it's because it's a take-home vehicle. Tajan horse is a take-home vehicle, that's striped.
Yeah, we have a lot of vehicles that are striped in town, but usually as a rule, we don't have them leave town. That's just the way I've always done it for my departments. It's a little bit of anonymity. That's just the way I've done it.
So this price does not include striping?
It does not. Or any of the gear. Lights. We have some equipment we could transfer over, but we have a different line item for building it out.
So this vehicle will have no lights,
No lights,
not striped?
not striped.
Don't have lights.
Yeah,
You said it
but
won't-
out of a different line item.
Be lighting inside the cab or around the cab. You won't have a.
It's not gonna be on top, it's gonna be inside.
Right.
Light bar.
So how many cars are striped right now?
All but mine, lieutenant's, and the detective has a blue Ford Taurus. When he works patrol, he has a stripe. His car is striped, but when he takes home in for investigation, it's not. Once again, he's out of town. Plus, he goes to the state lab. You know, he's always at the courts and things like that. So.
So we still need a motion if it's in the budget already, huh?
On an object that's over 25,000, we usually require what we have.
So I'd like to make a motion authorizing the purchase of the 2018 Dodge Ram 1500 SSV pickup truck, not to exceed $28,000.
Motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
There's a second, any questions?
Can I make an amendment to the motion?
Okay.
I'd like to amend that to where the vehicle is striped.
Okay, if I may, I think that's a department head decision. Okay, and my suggestion was gonna be at the end of the motion, that if you have any other questions or discussion with it about how he does things, that's something to talk to him. Be the same thing if we're sitting here saying how we should mark a dump truck or a pickup truck or anything else.
Okay.
So I was gonna suggest that you guys walk away from it. Any other questions or comments? Roll call.
So I can't make the motion?
I thought you just said you rescinded.
I didn't say rescind.
Okay, I
I
thought you
said
said,
okay to what your response was,
okay, so what's your amendment?
that the vehicle be striped.
Okay, is there a second on the amendment?
Second.
Second, any questions to the motion now entirely? Roll call.
Is it required that the person that made the motion has to agree with the amendment?
I would say, yeah.
Don't you just vote on the amendment?
That's correct.
Vote on the
Motion
amendment. Vote on the amendment.
We're gonna get that on the base.
So which motion are we voting on?
Motion on the amendment.
So let's clarify this again. We're voting on just the amendment, not the
Correct.
approval of the car.
Correct.
No, actually, I don't think that's an amendment, it's a motion, but we'll get it.
So we're voting on the amendment before the motion?
Okay.
That's how they tell me it works.
Hmm?
That's how they say it works.
That's how
Should we be voting on the first motion
I
then?
agree.
Because we've already made one motion that we have not closed yet. We're voting on the amendment.
I think it should be two separate motions, I don't think it should be an amendment. And normally what we do is the person who first and second, it okays with the amendment. Again, you can make a separate motion afterwards. That would be my suggestion. So my suggestion is you vote for the truck first. Because how can you vote for the amendment, you don't have the truck yet?
You can't vote for just the vehicle to be striped because it's not on the agenda.
But the item
Motion
is
on the
on
floor,
the
George.
agenda.
I know that. I took a class in this, that's why I was just saying that.
Motion on the floor, George.
Fine.
Okay. Everybody understand what we're voting on?
Why don't you say it again?
Yeah, please.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor and there's a second. Who made the motion to buy the truck?
Trustee Kraus,
Okay, who seconded it?
trustee Whalen.
Would you agree to the amendment to the motion to add for parking? Or do you want a separate motion?
I would say a separate motion.
Okay, let's vote on the truck first. John, make a separate motion after that. Okay, voting on the truck, roll call.
Kraus,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Caprows,
No.
Whaling,
Yes.
Basil,
Yes.
Nazarick.
Yes to the truck.
Okay, John, make your motion, please. If
Make
you're
a
so inclined.
Make a motion for the new Dodge Ram 1500 to be striped.
Motion on the floor, is there a second to that?
Second.
There's a second. Questions? Roll call.
Nazarick,
Yes.
Basil,
No.
Whaling,
No.
Caprows,
Yes.
Meyer,
No.
Kraus.
No.
Motion fails. I still recommend, John, please by all means talk to the chief afterwards. Everybody ready to move on?
Sure.
Public Works Committee, trustee Forrest.
Wastewater treatment plant update, the new belt press has arrived and is being connected. The UV lighting system for disinfection has been installed. Clarifier 2 is being rebuilt. Really with the weather going on and that, Matt, you got any other updates, or Bob? Any latest meetings?
We wanna get rid of our liquid sludge, we can't.
Yeah.
It's been a nightmare, but we move forward.
Nothing.
Project is moving not as fast as we want, but it's moving.
We can't get them out, or?
Can't get the liquid sludge out, can't get it in the fields because the fields are too wet. And now the fields have been planted, so there's nowhere to take it, so,
There's other options available to us that we'll have to look at.
yeah.
Result of Gould Street water main bid, 5 bids were received and opened, and a bid tab sheet is enclosed for your review. The low bidder was Brandt Excavating for $880,719.41. We have until October 4th to award the bid, or negotiate an extension of the bid price. Right now, we're gonna kinda wait and see how the $950,000 in the capital bill funds will be released, and we'll look into awarding it after we get some more word on that. Consider future water main projects, since it appears we have Gould Street water main fully funded. We're looking to select the next project for design in the range of about $500,000, which is the cash which we will have on hand after we complete Gould and the lead service line replacement program. Once the project is selected, we're gonna wanna go to design and have it ready for bid once we have Gould Street and the lead line project nailed down. There's a bunch of them on the board. We're gonna probably have a committee meeting to discuss it further. We thought we had our definite next target, and then Route 1 popped up, so we're gonna need to kinda discuss and evaluate. Curb and sidewalk repair update, Matt?
Perino Brothers, has the list. They, I told them to kinda hold off if we could until after the 4th of July, just due to pedestrian and vehicle traffic around town. So, hopefully right after that, they'll get started.
Consider a motion waiving bid requirement for emergency road repairs on Woodward, Reed, and Dunbar Street. The superintendent has identified 7 areas on these roads that are in substantial failure. He wishes to address these as soon as possible. These areas are in the 5, 6, and 700 block of Woodward, in front of 527 Dunbar, 540 Dunbar, and 623 Reed, and 633 Reed. 3 proposals were solicited, but only 2 were obtained. So I'll go ahead and make a motion waiving bid requirement for emergency road repairs on Woodward, Reed, and Dunbar Street.
Motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
There's a second, any questions?
What is substantial failure? We have to, collapsed or
Uh,
collapsing?
it's definitely failing.
alligator and
Thanks for
where
clarifying.
the
Yeah.
asphalt chips are, when you drive over it, the asphalt chips pop
On
up.
Dunbar Street, it's some areas are down to bare dirt. Me and Trustee Capros drove around the other morning and checked these areas out, and part of it is due to the water main replacement with all the heavy equipment that was run up and down those roads and things of that nature. So
Just curious.
there's some definite areas that need some immediate attention.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Kraus,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Caprows.
Yes.
Whaling,
Yes.
Basil,
Yes.
Missouri.
Yes.
Consider authorizing acceptance of a proposal in the amount of $44,858 from Workus Paving for 10,265 square feet of patching repairs. As we stated earlier, two proposals were received, one in the amount of $67,732, and this one in the amount of $44,858. So I'll go ahead and make a motion authorizing acceptance of a proposal in the amount of $44,858 from Workus Paving for 10,265 square feet of patching repairs.
Motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
Second, any questions? Roll call.
Missouri.
Yes.
Basil.
Yes.
Whaling.
Yes.
Caprows.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Kraus.
Yes.
You got an update on Woodward? I know we drove it, it's done.
Yeah, it's complete. I know it's been a long time coming, but finally got to it, and hopefully the residents over there are happy. I know Trustee Basil has been, you know.
Yeah, we've been hearing about this
few-
for a couple of years
A few
now.
of the
so-
residents are happy.
Yeah, so, well, that's better than none of the residents happy, I
Yes.
guess.
Alright, lead service line project update, a kickoff meeting was held about 3 weeks ago. In the process of identifying the exact location and number of lead service lines has begun. Enclosed are some of the materials that will be used in the near future as we begin to prepare the loan package. This project was not funded in the budget, so along with the Gold Street water main, we'll have to do a supplemental appropriation at the end of the year. And that concludes my report, if there's no other questions.
Economic Development and Community Relations Committee, Trustee Meyer.
Consider a proposal for a laser light show on Saturday, August 1st, 2020 in Fireman's Park in the amount of $12,000 to celebrate the village's sesquicentennial. A proposal for a laser light show enclosed appears to be feasible. Power, sound, location, and weather dates are being worked out. According to the proposal, the show is actually 25 minutes long and would occur at the north end of the park. It's going to be a big screen show. Comes along 100-foot, comes along with music, everything is included. It's actually pretty cool looking. Something a little bit different, the fireworks that we got quotes on were just, to have a ground show was way too expensive, and this will be something that kind of sets it apart from doing 4th of July.
Is there any links or anything to that, like?
No, well, I should
YouTube
email, he had
that I can
emailed
watch?
us, yeah,
I can-
we can forward
I can
an
email.
email.
Cool.
Yeah, 'cause
There's
there's-
videos of it.
Yeah, on YouTube or something, cool.
Yep, and you can kind of customize it, and if they need FAA approvals or any of that stuff, they get any of the stuff they need.
I read the contract, Marcy, and one of the things is we have to provide a lift for the screen. You said 100 feet, is the screen 100 feet tall, or is it 100 feet long? In other words, can our bucket truck help get this screen up in the air?
We just received the contract late today, and we'll work out the details. I didn't read it yet. He had another method of doing the lift, so I don't know which one.
The laser encore guy did?
Yeah.
Okay, because it's in the contract that the village will provide a lift for the
I
screen.
recall him at that.
Doesn't say lift speakers and something else?
Yeah.
Lift sound system.
We had, if you ever noticed at the 4th of July, we had that bridge-looking type thing in front of the stage holding lighting. That was my understanding of what he had. So in other words, the screen would raise with that.
Oh, it's automatic then.
But now, this is something.
Yeah,
like
our bucket truck goes up to 35 feet. I mean, we can use the bucket truck to help get the lift up.
What about the power and everything else?
We need 20 amp circuits, we can provide that.
And I think they also would do a rain date but you would have to cover hotel if they stayed for an extra day or
That was the
something.
other one.
Yeah, and hotel on
Travel
top of it,
expenses.
yeah, travel expenses on top of it as well. So, I'll make a motion for this unless you wanna wait until we get the final logistics done with that
I'd like to
contract.
have the authorization if
Okay,
prices
just
are
in case it does work
We'll work
out.
out the logistics, yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion to do a laser light show on Saturday, August 1st, 2020 in Fireman's Park in the amount of $12,000 for the sesquicentennial.
Motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
Second, any questions? Just as a comment, the reason why I'd like the authorization is this is a nationwide company, and I have no idea what their dates are like, so I'd rather lock in the date if we don't. So,
Kraus,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
LaBrus.
Yes.
Wheeling.
Yes.
Basil.
Yes.
Lizard.
Yes.
The sesquicentennial update, besides that, the book is progressing well. The 17,000 in ad sales have been raised so far. The book should cost 10 to 12,000 to produce, depending on the length. So we would have 5 to 7 towards the laser light show. The committee wants to hold a street dance birthday bash on July 25th, 1 week before the Lions Summerfest on a Saturday night. It was thought that we initially were gonna do the street dance on that same weekend, but we were possibly gonna have people serve food, and there's just too much in one weekend. I figured there's only so much people are willing to spend and go out to eat, and I think there was a fish fry that weekend. So we decided to kick it off the weekend before and kind of have a week-long celebration.
And where's this, have you,
The street dance,
location? Yes.
we were thinking Gold Street. At the bar end of Gold Street.
And the
I guess
reason,
both ends of
and the reason for that, Scott, is we can't get another liquor license because we commit to the 4th of July. So we would allow the licensed establishments there to serve, and we just allow them to come outside in the street with plastic trucks if they want street dance. And we don't have to worry about liquor license, serving and all that good stuff. That was one of the reasons. And then to get the local businesses help too.
Right.
And we would allow other businesses to come in and serve food and what have you. Not the liquor, because you have to have an on-premise license, but they can.
But
have
they
like a
wanted to
taste
set
of
up food
Beecher.
booths down there, yep,
Yeah.
and that ends my report.
thank you. Under my report in front of you were your committee assignments. If you notice, nothing's changed at this particular point in time. It will continue to be a work in progress as we progress into the committee of the whole way of doing things. Also attached is another appointment list for the commissions. I accidentally left Laura Voss in and Nelson Collins out under the 4th of July, but that was already reported prior to this, so all it is I fixed the sheets correctly.
The one I have still has Laura Voss.
What?
Mine does, yeah. There's Laura on it.
So I would
Yeah, it sure
replace her
does.
with Nelson Collins anyway.
Okay, I'm never gonna live this down in the office, but I'll fix it.
Can we fix that? Tonight to fix that?
That was already reported prior to
Oh,
this, this also was already appointed.
I fixed mine and I initialed it, so it says the show.
Okay, that's probably not gonna live this down. I did receive something that was addressed to you.
Yeah.
About a pond off of Mill.
Some.
Behind Jack Dickerson's house. On Beecher.
How weird is that?
Which would be.
Well, his is different, his doesn't have this.
My house? Really?
Seriously?
I mean, I can read, it's not there.
It's not even, it's like tabbed all
Is
over the
Nelson on there?
place.
No,
Just
I mean, yeah, because it's not there.
Okay, guys, thank you. I surrender here, wave the whole flag. I get it.
I don't think Dad's got both spiders.
Who's on first?
All right.
What about this one?
But there's a pond over there, I happen to see it during the Beecher Rex golf outing, and it's been there for years, it's been like this for years. There's no water in it, it's just leaned over.
8 north.
We're going to ask Matt, and maybe I'll go with you to take a look at to see if the pond, because maybe there's a possibility that it's a hole in the ground that can just be filled in, was never used. Don't know, but we're gonna take a look.
I don't know what water it takes, I have no clue.
Is that on village property or golf course?
It's on the golf.
It's on the golf course, but we believe, Bob thinks it's part of the drainage for the commercial property up front that was never, or was, whatever it was there years ago. We don't know what's going in there.
We have to talk to Nelson too, because he designed that fairly large subdivision, and we believe that's the retention pond for the commercial lot that never got built. And you know what it's like.
Right. Nothing, I mean, a lot of those ponds need to be reworked anyway.
You did notice the farmer's market was here on Saturday, and I went by it twice, and it was very well attended. Had a lot of marketers, or whatever you wanna call it, crafters, whatever. I thought it was a success, and from what I heard, that they think it was a success too. Other than that, I believe that's it. Is there any old business coming before the board?
Did Did we have a full explanation of the committee of the whole?
I'm sorry, no, I did not. But I think, the committee of the whole, I spoke to you individually on. There is no co-chair, I'm sorry, I didn't finish that conversation. If you notice, there is no co-chair listed on your committees. Your committee, in theory, is the chair, and you would meet with your department head, and then if you have something to report, you report it to the committee of the whole. If in fact there is something to be discussed on your committee, or whatever the case would be, and you're not going to be here, I would then give that report for you. And then as time goes on, again, should be no meeting, there should be no separate need for a separate committee meeting, because let's say, like Jonathan just mentioned that he was going to meet with Matt over, I forgot what the topic was.
Waterman.
Water, right.
Those two would work it out, and then it would present it to the committee of the whole entirely, so that everybody would hear the discussion. Over the last year or two, I felt there was sometimes that there was some discussion that should have been taking place more at the village board. The village board should have been maybe more informed of what we've done in the past. In my mind, this may fix it, it may not. I want to emphasize, I think I told everybody this too, that if there's any ordinances to change, I'd just like to wait, see how this works, because if it doesn't work, you prefer the other way, we'll go back the other way, we don't have to change the ordinance back. Questions?
What's going on with code? There's nobody listed. Are they,
Yes, Gene did not appoint a code enforcement officer.
so is there
The,
any way of doing
the
it?
entire police department is doing code enforcement.
All of the code or just some of it?
What they can, there's some codes obviously they can't. And we'll address it then.
And who does the rest then?
Pardon me?
Who does the other?
Depends on what the complaint is. Like for instance, ponds probably is not their cup of tea. So then we are addressing either with amongst us, amongst the chief, and some of the other issues, there's building department.
So who does it go to if that's gonna decide where it goes? I mean, do they call the village hall and say, I have an issue, and
The
then?
chief is the one who recommended the process, so the chief can explain that it goes to Linda. Linda makes sure it's done. One of the things that I wasn't happy with, there are some complaints that could have been handled right away, and sometimes they would sit. So we're trying to get the complaint handled as soon as we get it, and it goes out right away rather than sitting in an email box. So that was one of the concerns that I had. Or like, for instance, you get the complaint on a Friday and it would sit till the code enforcement officer came in, whoever it was, whenever it was. So I prefer it to be handled right away, especially if it's a weekend. If it's something that can wait, it can wait, but otherwise, I'd rather have it handled right away.
Is there a list of what police department's gonna handle and not? I mean, like, you know, building permits or, you know, they talking about they just stick a condemned sticker in a house. I mean, do the police know what the code is where the house can and can't be condemned?
No, my thought, I don't know about the chief, is that a lot of these complaints that come in, sometimes they come in, we've never had them before, so then we have to decide who's going to handle it. And lots of times Bob or I work together to
Yeah,
handle it.
we don't condemn a house easily. That's something that's gonna be done by a group of people, not one individual making that decision.
So if the police that don't handle it, someone at the village hall is gonna handle it?
Yeah, we worked it out. Like for instance, there's one building now that we sent the building inspector there. I received a complaint through Waltz, while I was in Waltz. Received the complaint, came in here, we talked about it in here, we put the building inspector on it, he inspected the building, and he came back and gave us a report, and now we're looking into having the attorney draft a letter.
Doesn't the building inspector only work like one day a week for a couple hours, or does he come out?
2 days a week, and he'll come out if we need it.
Actually, he's gonna be here more often now because they made this his main office. So he's gonna probably be here more than 2 days a week, I hope.
That's the first I heard of it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking, we don't want the calls to get held and it be.
That's one of the reasons why we're going this route. Again, if it's something that needs to be changed down the road, we're trying it this way. He has a way of documenting it now. There's an actual code report filled out with the results of that. And then there's a database you created, right, from what I understand?
It's a spreadsheet right now. We got licenses for FileMaker Pro to eventually migrate to that. I'm working with Jeanette and our IT people just to do our emails first to, what is that, Office 365. So that's a start. We do have a shared drive now at the PD, so it's on an Excel spreadsheet as a log, and then there's a form that has to be filled out for every single code violation that we do, and then there's a referral at the bottom. So it's something we can't handle, it's like refer to building department, refer to the fire department, or, you know, there's a lot of different avenues that we can do because we can only do so much under code. You know, we do the dogs, the grass,
Parking, a couple of stuff.
parking, yeah, but
Some of the other stuff they just don't know.
In all honesty, Todd, would like to be a little more proactive in code enforcement, because in my opinion, if a resident calls the village hall with a complaint, it's too late. We should have caught it, you know, especially if it's high weeds or abandoned car. We're patrolling out there, we should catch that stuff, you know?
And some of that's true.
Yeah.
I agree with that, but you have to understand that this isn't the same society that we grew up in.
That's correct.
It's litigious, and these people, they will not talk to each other. They can be right next door, they will not walk across the lawn and talk to them. They have to get the police
We have some
involved.
people cut their front yards, not their backyards, and we can't
Yeah,
see
we
that.
have that too,
Yeah.
so.
I did say on Friday, I drove every street and alley south of Church Road, I didn't get north of Church Road yet. And I had very few code violations that I saw, because I was out just looking for that, I had very few. No grass complaints south of Church Road.
And we're extremely lenient this year because we've had so much rain, and we understand that it's very difficult. You know, people had the bush hogs out there, and then we got complaints that there was clippings, but that's the only thing they could do. There is a lot of freestanding water still in some of these subdivisions, the vacant ones, so.
Any other old business?
Can I just ask one quick question? So what happened with the person, the position for the person who was doing code enforcement? Does he now have less duties and working less hours? Did he get like comped in another way? Like, how did that work?
Yeah, he's basically just a part-time officer. He's like a utility officer, we use him for a lot of different things. So we have to go to court quite often to like sign complaints, hour there, hour back. And there's usually only 2 officers working, so when he comes in, we have him run that. He's still very good with some of the bigger subdivisions with his contacts, so he works on those. You know, he still answers calls just like anybody else. He's a good backup officer, but he doesn't come out very often, no.
Okay.
It's very kind of limited. Try to keep him anywhere between 20 and under hours if we can. And we're getting more part-timers trained, so some of the hours might dry up a little bit for some of the officers that we do have.
Sometime back, we took the hours, Trustee Kraus was in on that meeting, we took the hours that were allotted for that specific purpose, lumped them into part-time, and bottom line, he's a part-time officer from there. Left it, the appointment was already made, I had already known at that time that I would not reappoint him as renewal, so that in theory, a specific code enforcement officer, right now, no one has been appointed by me, and ratified by the board.
He's really good with like community policing events, Cop on Top, National Night Out, and things like that. He's run for years and years, not only with our department, but other departments. He still has a lot of contacts with that, and knows how these functions run. So that's his kind of like his cup of tea.
Any new business before the board?
Just, do we have to vote on these committees or not? No.
It's my appointment. It's my assignment.
Okay. Just to let you know, the monthly reports will be at the back of the packet now, not part of the agenda.
If nothing else, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any questions? Roll call.
Preserve,
Yes.
Basil?
Yes.
Whaling?
Yes.
Capel?
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.